I'd be like, great, this is easy.
Way to spoil the reveal. What the hell was that? Now we know what you're going to say.
Easy.
You know, I'm going to give a spike grade just to mess with you.
A spike grade?
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to give a spike grade.
All right, you got to stop chugging that 13% stout.
Oh God, I'm almost done. I didn't even notice. Hey everyone, welcome to A Grade, the podcast where a college professor and a middle school teacher taste, review, and grade America's best coffee roasters, craft breweries, and more. We have new episodes every Monday morning at 7 a.m. My name is Joe, and I am joined, as always, of course, by...
Hi everybody, I'm Jackie.
And we have a very unique episode this week because, lo and behold, it's Snowpocalypse 2022, and we are snowed in. It kind of just is letting up now, but we just started doing our digging out, right, of the storm.
Yeah, the storm started about 24 hours ago. For those of you that live in New York, you totally know this. But we just got done shoveling out the driveway. It was a lot of snow. We got like 12, maybe 18 inches out there in some spots. A lot of snow.
Yeah, and as such, we kind of had to pull back on our plans for this weekend. We usually try to do a coffee roaster or craft brewery if we don't already have previous episodes recorded, and alas, there was not much open today, I suspect. So
yes. So we decided to make the most of it and do a snowcast.
Snowcast 2022, a Blizzard bottle review. I just made that up. I don't know if that's actually what this episode's going to be called, but it sounds pretty good to me.
It sounds really good. The other thing that everybody should know out there is that we are kind of just winging this.
Oh, yeah. We had very little planned because this is a pretty hard audible.
Yes.
But I did before the storm, because we were kind of planning that this would be this week's unique episode, pick up a bottle of craft brew from a local beer distributor. And so we're going to talk about this bottle and try to give it a letter grade, which again is something very new. It's not something we've done before. But I'm kind of excited because I'm hoping it's actually really good. Have you ever had anything by... this is Grimm, the brewery.
I have not. And Grimm is in Brooklyn, New York, which is actually not that far from us, but we have not actually been there. But the bottle is from Grimm in Brooklyn. I've never been there. Have you?
No, it's actually on my list, or on our podcast place list of places I want to go to. It's kind of, it has vibes to me of Other Half. If you go back a few episodes, we did a review in Brooklyn of Other Half Brewing. And I say it reminds me of Other Half, not necessarily in content or quality, just in terms of kind of my perception of how, I don't know if legendary is the right word, but in my own mind, there's kind of a mythos around it where I have wild expectations because I've heard about it for so long, and I have had their beers in the past and they've been really good. So they've been in the craft beer game, I think, for probably at least 10 years, maybe around 10 years. I don't know. But in the craft beer world, that's quite some time. There's a lot of breweries that start and they go out of business within a couple of years sometimes, unfortunately. But I know Grimm has been around for quite a while, so definitely on our list. And I thought, hey, why not try this one? Because I think it's fitting for the times that we find ourselves in during this storm, right?
Yeah, and I will post some pictures on Instagram and on our Patreon of the bottle that we're drinking, and some behind the scenes photos of podcasting in my office, in my house, as our atmosphere and ambiance today. But the bottle that we're drinking, it's Grimm Maple Sumi Snow Cream, which is a bourbon barrel aged imperial milk stout with maple and vanilla, which should be right up my alley. I'm a big fan of maple and vanilla.
Yep.
But I'm not sure I'm a big fan of stouts. So this should be pretty interesting. It's a 13% alcohol. And like we said, it's brewed in Brooklyn, New York.
Yeah. So a few things about that too. I mean, I picked up this bottle, like I said, specifically because Snow Cream kind of stood out to me as appropriate.
Right on brand.
Yeah, as appropriate for our current situation. And it's interesting what you say about stouts because, again, if you're a first-time listener, just go back to any episode where we go to grade a craft brewery and you try a stout, and you often are not a fan of stouts. They're usually, I think it's fair to say, they're too thick or too heavy for you, typically. Yes. Which, again, you say that with a lot of beers, though, that they're too much for you, like IPAs and sours. But need I remind you, Jackie, when we went to Hudson Valley Brewing in Beacon, New York, sours only, pretty much, and you loved it because they did them really good. Other Half brewery in Brooklyn, pretty much only IPAs, and you loved them because they did them pretty good. Great Notion Brewery, which we went to before we started the podcast in Portland, Oregon, primarily stouts, and you liked a lot of those.
Yes. So while we're talking about sours, I also want to give a shout out to Po' Boy Brewing, because we went back after our last podcast episode because we love them so much. And we sat down with the owners and the brewers there, and we got to sample some of the Sour Patch beers. And we had some A-grade sour beers there. They were really so good. Yeah. And the owners gave us a nice tour, and just what a great experience. That makes me feel so happy that we gave them that A grade as well. And I love their sours.
Well, I think it was A-, but
in the A range. No, in that A range.
Well, so that's the point that stood out to me, was because they actually messaged us on Instagram, and A- is a fantastic grade.
We don't give A- ever in that A range.
Well,
not a lot.
It's rare. Like, you really have to. I don't even know if we've given a craft brewery an A across the board. I think most of them, the highest they've gotten is A-. In any event, when a business messages you, "Oh, we listened to your podcast, we'd love to talk more," my reaction is always to go to the worst possible scenario. Oh, they're probably furious with some of the things I said. But they absolutely loved the podcast. They said that they were kind of obsessed with it, and they were actually very happy with everything that we had to say. And yeah, they were super cool inviting us back. And shout out to them. If you love sour beers, check out their Sour Patch. They have like an exclusive sour beer tasting vibe on, I think it's Friday and Saturday nights.
Yes.
You have to go to get the sours. And then the rest of the week, they have just killing ciders and some really good beers too, and awesome other stuff. Just go back to the last brewery review episode we did of Po' Boy Brewing. I think it was a couple episodes ago. And I don't think most people will be disappointed if you are anywhere in the area and you're looking for a really good A-grade caliber brewery. Check them out. Shout out to Po' Boy for sure.
Yeah. And so let's see if I'm curious to see if I like this stout as much as I liked the sours that I didn't think I was going to like. Maybe it's the same situation.
Yeah. And I chose Grimm specifically because I've had good experience with their beers, but stouts are always tricky, especially when you're getting them in a store. I don't know how long this has been sitting around. I don't know if it's supposed to be aged or not. A lot of times with any types of beers that have milk or dairy or lactose, you're supposed to drink them fresher, typically. I don't know if that's a hard rule, but I've seen that a lot. A lot of people at breweries have told me that. But this doesn't necessarily say that. So that's why I'm kind of confused, because it does say snow cream, which makes me think, and it's described as a milk stout, that it should be drank relatively fresh, which means within like a few weeks or months maybe. But at the same time, it doesn't explicitly say to do that. Treehouse Brewing, for example, always says on their stouts that have lactose in them, I think, to drink them fresh. But they might just be saying that so you keep crushing their beers. I don't know.
Right. It's good marketing.
Yeah, maybe it's not mutually exclusive. But anyways, let's get to cracking this and grading
and
this.
What about our categories? So this is a little different. Normally, we would review atmosphere and ambiance, service, beer, and food. But since we're doing a little bit different, the Snowcast, we're going to change the categories just a little bit. Yes. And they are.
So we kind of made this up right before, but I think we narrowed it down to the first grading rubric category is aesthetics. So looking at the bottle, the style, the design. Again, we'll post pictures on Instagram if you want to see actual images. And if you go to patreon.com/agradepodcast, link in the description, and become an A-grader yourself. I'm pushing these shameless self-promotions hard.
Yeah, this is great.
You can get even more behind-the-scenes pictures of not just the bottles, but probably me falling into snow, which is quite entertaining.
Yes, that is going to go on the Patreon page. Yeah. Our snow angels that we did in the front yard before the podcast. So we really are excited to crack into this.
Yep. Patreon.com/agradepodcast or link in the description.
So we have the aesthetics of the bottle.
Aesthetics of the bottle. And then aroma.
Aroma.
Which makes sense. That's something that you do with beer tasting. Third category, rubric grading category would be taste.
Taste.
And then fourth grading rubric category, I guess would be like terroir, which is barely a word I can pronounce. But have you heard of this word?
I've never heard of this word.
I made it up entirely.
I mean, but this is coming from the guy that calls them song quotes. Music quotes instead of lyrics.
You're never going to let me down.
So, no, that was my favorite thing you said on the podcast.
Last episode, I said that song quotes. I liked song quotes
instead of lyrics.
Jackie pointed out, oh, they have a word for that. Believe it or not, writer, professor, man. Yeah. So, anyways,
our fourth category
is. Did I say it already?
No.
Oh, terroir.
Which is?
They say it in wine. It's like, I think it's bullshit. Like vibe and mood and
the whole vibe.
Oh yes, the terroir of the wine.
Of the snow.
It takes me back to my days in Tuscany and Burgundy.
So it's the snow. It's the house.
Yeah.
It's the time of day.
Right.
It's just our experience right now as we're drinking it.
Yeah. So that I don't know if that's what terroir is or if it's somewhat related to that. So it's kind of how it fits into the atmosphere overall. My point being, if we were to drink this in the middle of summer, snow cream ale might not have the same impact as drinking it now.
So maybe a good word is vibe.
Vibe. Let's go with vibe.
Let's go with vibe.
Vibe.
All right. Let's do it.
All right,
let's crack into it.
I'll get the old bottle opener, if you can hear that. And this is live, folks.
Yes.
Be hyped. Do I have
This
a
is
bottle
the
opener?
behind the scenes. You guys are getting the unplugged right now.
Oh,
there it is. Open.
All right. Oh, we should talk about the bottle first.
Well, that's our first category.
Yeah, so the first category. Oh, I already smell it. All right, let's
pour it in.
Let's do the Well, we got to do the bottle first. Okay. I shouldn't have opened it. I panicked.
All right, let's do it.
So I think the label is kind of cool. I don't know what the hell's going on. There's a bunch of symbols, and it kind of goes across the whole bottle almost, wraps around. Otherwise, it's a pretty plain bottle. I mean, it's a stout, so it's a darker beer.
It's a very sleek bottle.
Yeah.
The bottle itself is that dark brown, so you can't really see what's in it. And then the label is a beige, and all the writing is in red. So it's a really sleek, pretty bottle.
Yeah, it's very clean for how messy all those symbols are, which I assume that there's a deeper meaning to it. I don't know enough about the brewery to say what that meaning might be, but I would imagine it fits into their larger atmosphere and aesthetics and that sort of thing for their brewery or their branding or something like that. But,
yeah, the only thing that I can actually recognize is the bottom of a shoe, a money sign. There's some fire. There looks like a magic carpet.
Yeah.
There's a flower in there, and everything looks very trendy.
So
there's an eye.
Yeah, as per my plugs, You're going to
Cool.
want to go to Patreon and Instagram to see these pictures. Probably.
There's a church, it looks like, in there. There's a building, a big church with a cross. There's an alien and a spaceship.
Okay,
There's
you don't have
some
to name
really
everyone.
cool stuff in here. An infinity symbol. He's like, all right, all right. So what do you give the grade for the bottle?
I'm going to give it, so I guess I have to think about other bottles that I've seen and really loved. And there's definitely ones that if I'm asking what an A grade bottle would be, it would be something that I kind of am, I guess, blown away by, where I say, wow, that's so cool. That's so unique. That's so original. This is cool. I like it. It doesn't shock me, or I mean, I like the paper that it's printed on is really nice. It feels like it's quality stuff, which is, I think, really good going into a beer. So I'm going to give it a solid B. I think it's cool. It's catchy. It's nothing too crazy or too fancy. It's sleek, like you say. I think B feels good to me.
I'm going to go with a B plus,
Ooh, okay.
only because I am intrigued by all the symbols on it. And it's kind of drawing me in to make me want to go to that brewery, because I want to see more
That's a great
about
point. Yeah.
what is the thought behind this logo. I love it. I love the name Grimm. I love the font that it's written in. So I'm going to go B plus because I'm intrigued.
Yeah, now that you point that out, I'm kind of staring at all these symbols now too, as you were just. So
I think we're getting hypnotized.
I think maybe that's it. A grade, A grade,
It is
A
called
grade,
Grimm.
A grade.
Grim Reaper, maybe?
Oh God! Can you keep track of our grades? I just realized we.
Yes.
I don't have a
So
notebook.
why don't you pour it over the mic and I'll get us a nice notebook.
Okay, sounds good. So so our second category would be the aroma. Yeah, so it's definitely time to pour it. And let me try to not mess this up, because I'm trying to talk into a mic while pouring beer, which should be easier than it sounds, but
It looks very dark. It almost looks like wine, which I guess is what a stout would look like.
that's interesting you say that, because I don't know if that's actually universal to what a stout should look like, but I agree it does kind of look like wine to me, and I don't know why, or if that's good or bad. But I guess maybe that is what stouts look like. I'm not a brewer myself. I just drink a lot of awesome craft beer, so
It's bubbly, which I like.
a little foamy, yeah.
Little foamy, I
Little bit
like
of foam.
that. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely looks very stout dark, but yeah, it kind of has this little bit of opaque color or profile to it at the same time. I think that's like the wine sort of vibe that you're pointing out, maybe.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of stouts I've had in the past, they just kind of are just black holes of deliciousness sometimes.
Yes.
You don't see anything. There's no reflection off of them.
That would be a good name
I feel
for
like
a
there's
stout.
almost some reflective quality off of this stout, which again is not something you always get, right?
Yeah, it looks beautiful in the glasses that we poured it in.
Okay, so let's second grading rubric category, aroma. Let's give it a sniff. Let's see here. Ooh.
Mm. The radio silences us smelling.
No, you hear. Ooh, it's got like cookie vibes, right?
I can really smell the maple and the vanilla.
I really like that.
I almost
really
wish
like
I
that.
didn't know what was in it because I think I could have pulled it out of the smell.
And that's key. I think that's always something we talk about, not just with craft beer, but with really good coffee too, especially fresh pour over coffee, that when you can kind of, without knowing what beans they are, what profile it's supposed to be, taste the coffee and say, ooh, this has a citrusy essence or a floral essence or a piney essence or whatever the case may be. And that matches up with what the goal was. That's so wildly impressive in my opinion. And a lot of beers, you can do that too, where you smell it without any previous knowledge and you say, oh, this is giving me straight notes of oatmeal cookie or something along those lines, right? And this is definitely strong. This is definitely very distinct, I think, right?
Yeah, I agree.
I really like the aroma here.
It smells a little bit like dessert. I would think that someone that didn't even like beer might like this because it smells so delicious.
I think I know my grade for aroma. And
me too.
Do you want me to go? Why don't you go? Because I went on the last one first.
I'm going to go with a B for aroma. I think it smells really good, but I can smell the alcohol in it.
So it's funny you say that.
And it's almost a little overpowering.
It's funny you say that because that's...
and it is alcohol.
Well, that's exactly how I feel. I feel as if I'm going to go A- because I love how it almost smells like a cookie vibe to me, but I can also smell the maple and the vanilla. So I feel like I can smell the individual components, but I can also smell it manifesting as something as part of the sum of those parts, which is really cool. I really like that. That's reminds me kind of when you have a really good latte that you like. You always say that a really good latte, it has its own identity in terms of the flavor profile, but you can still sort of sense like, oh yeah, I can taste the espresso, the maple, the milk or whatever, but I can also identify it as coming together for something more. And that's what I sort of feel about this almost. But I agree with what you say, where just from a purely sort of observational perspective, the alcohol tinge is a bit kind of overriding. Again, not in like a bad way or a negative way, but it does kind of disrupt that flow, which might just be the nature of the fact that it's a beer. But that's why I go with, I still think a fantastic aroma grade for me, A-. That's pretty great.
And for me, someone who traditionally doesn't like stouts, I think a B is a really good aroma grade for me.
She's like, that is A grade for a normal person.
Yes.
But fair enough.
All right, let's give it a taste.
Should we
Our
do a
next
cheers?
category, yes, let's do a cheers.
Ding.
Ding.
If you can't hear that. So yeah, next category is taste.
All right, let's sip it.
Yeah, cheers.
We're both rolling our eyes and thinking. I'm going to have another sip.
I shouldn't have chugged my whole thing just now. Could you imagine?
Could you imagine? I don't know. If anybody could chug a stout, that would be pretty disgusting. I think that would cause some really bad side effects.
You know, it almost tastes... I feel like it might need to warm up a little bit more to get the full flavors out of it.
Warm. You think it's too cold?
I think it's a little too cold. That might be entirely wrong. I actually really like the aftertaste. It's almost got this like kind of malty, almost like chocolatey aftertaste, I think.
Very malty. This is feels like dessert. I think you can drink this instead of having a sweet for dessert. This could replace that.
I kind of wish that the flavors that I was smelling came out more. Like
I agree.
I definitely taste them, but they were way stronger in the aroma than they are in the body, I feel like. And I taste more of the alcohol, which is probably indicative of the fact that it's 13% by volume, which is no joke. I mean, a crazy IPA that people will drink, like a double IPA, and people say, oh, this is going to get me really drunk really fast, can be like 8 or 9%. That's pretty heavy. Sometimes like 10%, and that's getting pretty wild. So this is 13%. It's like twice what a normally pretty heavy percentage beer is. So I think that's definitely a part of it. I think if it were like maybe 11%, it might meld a lot better. But I don't know how much of that is planned or how much of it is just the result of the process that they brew it through. But I still like it for sure.
I like it as well. And I do find myself wishing that I could taste a little bit more of the maple and vanilla as well.
It's good. It's got a nice body to it. It's almost like it's not too thick and it's not too thin. And I don't know if that has to do with what we were describing earlier, how its profile kind of reminds me of a little bit more like wine, just in the sense of like it's not as thick as some other stouts I've had. And I think that's actually a good thing maybe. But at the same time, it's sort of interesting how that's working with everything else that we've been talking about. So I think of all the three categories we've done so far, this is the one that I'm most sort of not sure about.
Yeah. And I like the way it tastes. It's definitely strong for me. I'm not sure how much of this I could drink, but it's really good. I can tell it's very high quality.
Yeah.
It feels high quality. I find myself again wanting a little bit more of that maple and vanilla, maybe a little lower
especially
alcohol.
Vanilla, I feel like, right?
Yeah, this would, I feel like this could be done in a way where those flavors punch a little bit more, but also sometimes that could be too overpowering and it could make it too sweet. So I'm finding myself enjoying it. I think I will finish it.
It's really good. Yeah.
I enjoy it a lot.
Give it a little swirl and try to take another sip, because sometimes that helps open it up. If you put it on the table and you kind of swirl from the bottom. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, give it a little aeration. I don't know if that's what's actually happening, but I know it can help just open up those flavors, like I said, a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
You probably get a little bit more, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's definitely a drink that I would drink slow.
Yeah. Well, I feel like the fact that
it would make me really full.
I've seen you cringe and call, certain stouts robotism stouts.
Yes.
So the fact that you're not doing any of those things speaks volumes for how
this is
good quality
stout.
This stout is. Yeah.
I like this stout. I think we did an Instagram live where we tried an aged beer like this, didn't we? Or
we tried a good one. I think we tried it was a Founders KBS or CBS.
And it was a really
stout.
good one.
Yeah.
But I like this more.
Interesting. Yeah.
This is more drinkable to me.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't always describe a stout as crushable, but this feels like a slow crushable beer.
Yeah.
It's good.
I think this would be something that maybe would be good with ice cream, like vanilla ice cream or something.
Wow.
If you made a stout float or something, that could be really good, I think.
Wow. Yes.
But in general, I'm kind of, the only thing I haven't determined yet is the fact that I feel as if this were a 10% stout, I would know my letter grade. But the fact that it's 13% kind of makes it more impressive that it doesn't taste off-putting. Because in general, maybe it's just me, and that very well might be part of it. But the higher percentage of beer is, the harder that is to overlook. Like, it starts to take over the other flavors and the other aromas sometimes, just that pure alcohol sort of vibe. But I think this does a really fantastic job, considering 13% starting to get up there. I mean, you'll see stouts sometimes 14, 15, 16%. Like, they'll get pretty crazy sometimes, but 13 is even pretty high for a lot of just average stouts. Usually, I feel like most the really good ones that I like that I see are around 11, 12%. So I'm actually impressed with it for those reasons. But I don't know if you have any other thoughts.
That's a really good point. It's very drinkable for a 13% beer. I know my grade.
You do?
Yes.
Should I give my grade?
Sure.
Wait, did you give your grade last? So it's my turn?
Yes.
I'm going to go B. I think it's better than a lot of just like middle of the road stouts that aren't really bringing anything unique to the table other than that they have that very sort of rich, thick profile. I can definitely still taste the individual flavors. I just kind of would maybe want a little bit more of it. And that's maybe just a personal preference or reaction, but I think it's a really good stout, honestly. So I'm pretty happy with B, I think, for the flavor.
I went even higher. I think it's a B+ stout.
Oh, okay, but you're in the same range.
Same range. Yeah. I really like it. I think it's light and drinkable for a very dark beer.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the fact that it doesn't make me make a face when I drink it, which stouts sometimes do.
Yeah. I feel like your stout grades are either B or higher or D or lower.
Yes.
There's no C grade.
No C grade.
There's no C satisfactory stout for you. That's not
love it
happen.
or hate it.
Yeah. I think that's about where you land on the stout CL assessments.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So last category is the vibe category.
Ooh, okay.
The overall vibe of this snow day, this snowcast, drinking this beer in the office that we're in right now. The fact that we have this special episode. What is your overall vibe and feeling about how this is all going?
I really like it, which I think if I translate when I say I really like something, I think more and more it's easier to do that rather than me to try to identify what that means. Just be like, wait, I really like it translates to a letter grade, actually. And I think it's a culmination of a lot of what we said in terms of this fitting in for what the vibe's supposed to be. Like, clearly this is a beer designed for this exact scenario. I feel like, I don't know if we'll probably tag Grimm in this. I don't see why we wouldn't. Because again, I really like this beer, right? And we always say that, like, oh, should we tag these companies? Like, what if they take it the wrong way? But I think this is a really good beer. I think it's really solid. Part of it might be as well, I found it on a shelf in a beer distributor. I don't know if that's optimal for how it's supposed to be stored or how it's supposed to be, aged. If it is, I don't think it is an aged beer, in essence. But regardless, should it be chilled the whole time? I don't know. I just found it on an open shelf in a random beer store. So whatever.
But this is how anybody that's listening to the podcast would also probably find
that's true
a Grimm beer.
Yeah.
So we want to put that into consideration a little bit. Yeah. Is that when we do this podcast, we're not saying that we're experts, right? We don't brew beer.
I'm an expert, not on this.
We don't roast coffee, right? So I think part of it is that we are getting into our groove with how we can kind of describe and rate and grade these places. But I think coming into it, this is how most people that drink this Grimm beer would experience it.
Yeah, so I would say that for the fourth grading rubric category, the vibe, I would give it a B+. I think it's definitely doing the job I want it to. I think it's a great beer to drink at night, snowy day, all of those factors considered. But what do you think?
I love it. I think the vibe is great. I would not want to drink this in the summer. It's very heavy. This beer is specifically even named for a snow day. And I could see we came in after shoveling snow and I could see the benefit of drinking this. And it really is creating a vibe for me sitting here in the office. Yeah. We got our nice glasses. We got this nice beer where we can transition from snow shoveling to watching the WWE Royal Rumble and making some dinner.
We got a lot going on.
So I think the vibe is perfect. I am intrigued by this bottle. So I think we should definitely tag Grimm because I would love to go there and review the brewery just based on the aesthetic of the bottle. I want to know about those symbols.
Unless they DM us and they're like, yes, stay the hell away.
You are not welcome. You do not understand stouts.
It's going to happen. I'm telling you, it's going to happen one of these days. Yeah. So what do you give it for vibe?
B+.
Oh, okay, cool.
I loved it.
Okay, so what's our overall grades? Because we still have to tally our
podcast grade.
Our podcast grade overall, our overall individual grades and then overall podcast grade. Okay, so what do we got?
So bottle aesthetics was, you gave it a B, I gave it a B+.
Okay.
Aroma, you gave it an A-, I gave it a B. Taste, you gave it a B, I gave it a B+. And vibe, we both gave it a B+. I know my grade.
Okay.
It's very, if you want me to start while you're thinking.
Yeah, why don't you start? Yeah.
I really like how overall my grades are B+, B, B+, B+. that makes me very confident to say that
Wait, we have to do 3, 2, 1.
Oh, it makes me very confident in my overall grade. And if you're out there and you want to guess, I'm sure you can assume based on very easy to kind of get an average of those grades. If I were grading a paper of a student that had this spread, I'd be like, great, this is easy.
Way to spoil the reveal. What the hell was that? Now we know what you're going to say.
Easy.
You know, I'm going to give a spike grade just to mess with you.
A spike grade?
Yeah, that's right. I'm going to give a spike grade.
All right, you got to stop chugging that 13% stout.
Oh God, I'm almost done. I didn't even notice. Okay, now I have to bump up my grade.
So before you do your grade, I have a random would you rather.
Okay.
Okay, because it's relevant. Would you rather chug this stout or chug a maple syrup latte?
I have so many questions. Is that okay?
You were such a questioner.
I am.
Yes.
Do I have to chug that whole bottle like when we opened it?
No, you have to chug either a glass, this size glass of a maple syrup latte.
Like a 12-ounce glass.
Yes.
Okay.
With oat milk in it, so you don't have to worry about your stomach hurting or anything.
Yeah.
Or would you rather chug the same amount of this stout?
What do I get? Can I win?
You get an A grade.
Okay.
And a fancy stamp that says
question. Is the
A grade.
Is the latte like drinking temperature or is it coming out scalding hot? Can I wait for it to cool down?
The thought of it being scalding hot really makes me laugh, but it's cool. It's the perfect drinking temperature.
Easy answer.
What do you chug?
I basically chug a 12-ounce latte every Sunday when we go to the farmer's market and get a cup of Joe latte. I tell them all the time.
Yes.
It's one of the few times I ever get lattes. And I live about a quarter of a mile from that farmer's market. I literally don't make it home with the latte. I'm done with it. I throw it in my garbage can because I'm finished with it.
Yes, I always notice that you do that.
I would do that one, yeah.
Yes, I notice that you do that because when we get home, we sometimes put our cups down and then mistake whose is whose. And I always lift them up and I'm like, oh, this one's empty. It's Joe's. He drank it in the 20 minutes it took for us to meander around Port Jeff and walk.
No, sometimes 2 minutes it took to walk home. Yes. It's close.
Cup of Joe, if you're listening, we love you. And also, let's get those extra large cups in. Yeah. No, hopefully, he's got some good things in the works, so I can't wait.
Yeah,
for that.
he's a A grade fella.
Yeah, he's basically our
coffee.
bar for when it comes to service and coffee.
Oh my God, it's not.
I mean, the bar.
He's working on big things.
Yeah,
he's not a big guy, but he's working on big things.
I'm so excited.
He's not a small guy either. But anyways, folks. So 3, 2, 1 reveal.
Yeah, let's do it.
What happens if we say the same letter grade? I feel like that should be a penalty or something.
I think a lot of the listeners like when we disagree, but normally we're having a good experience or a bad experience.
It's not my fault if we're right about the letter grade. I can't do anything about that.
It is just a testament to the rubric working.
Yes.
And also, speaking of that, just a side note, if any of the listeners out there, you guys go to any different places and use the rubric to kind of wrap your head around your own experience, send it to us. We love hearing different people that message us.
It's one of my favorite things.
Tell us places they go and then give us the rubric breakdown, especially like the bathrooms or what, I love that. So if you guys go to any places, use the rubric.
We actually get a fair amount of that now. Diana in Connecticut.
And Lou.
Lou. They're constantly DMing us places that they go to and having their rubric breakdowns as well as their bathroom sort of reflections. I forgot we didn't do a bathroom corner this episode.
Yeah, so you can rate my bathroom. I think you should, especially because I cleaned it today.
Bathroom is A grade.
Thank you. That is the only right answer.
You know what? I'm making A grade history, folks. For the first time in A grade history, I'm giving it A+ for the bathroom.
Does that mean my bathroom gets to go into the A grades for 2022?
I think you know the answer to that question.
Yes.
No. What are you talking about? That's not fair at all.
It's very fair.
No, because I'm the only one who uses it. That's not fair.
But this is the vibe.
Yeah, do you have any idea the type of people who are going into your normal brewery or coffee roaster bathroom?
Yeah, you're right.
That you have to clean up after? It's not us.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
Shout out to
It's also us.
Shout out to all the people that clean the bathrooms in coffee roasters and breweries.
Yep. I specifically routed my career so that I wouldn't have to clean bathrooms. But I remember doing it.
My first job was they wanted me to clean the bathrooms. Guess how many days I lasted?
0?
Yes. And
wait, where was this?
My parents, I was in high school. It was my very first job. It was at the local beach by our house.
Yeah.
And I thought I was going to be the girl in the ticket booth, taking money, handing out parking tickets,
right. Very, very bougie. But
bougie job.
Yeah.
And they told me that no, it was going to be the bathroom. I was going to be cleaning the bathrooms. And another shout out to my roommate, Benny, who also did that job. And he did clean the bathrooms for years. He did not quit. I quit.
Yeah. I remember when my first job, I worked at a country club, and we would specifically send the new people to go clean the bathrooms around the golf course, just because if they can do that, then they can do anything.
Yeah.
If they can't do that, they're not going to last anyways.
That was me.
They might as well have to do it.
I was like, no, thank you. Yeah. My parents were going to kill me, but I was not doing that job.
Yeah. I have so many other stories like that, but we'll save it for next week.
Well, this is why this random episode is fun. You get to know us a little bit.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you another story next week about the time that I realized I was shoveling shit for minimum wage.
Oh, yes.
Very profound realization in my life, but it did happen. And
stay tuned, folks.
Stay tuned for more.
Yes. And we will be doing more special episodes, too, so that we get more behind the scenes like this.
But anyways, countdown.
Okay, let's do it.
Final grade.
Final grade.
You ready?
Ready.
3, 2, 1, B+. Oh, you haters are going to hate. That's what it is, though. That's what it comes down to. That's what it is.
This is a B+ experience of a B+ beer.
It's a very good beer.
8th grade snow day.
I would say the snow day is A- because oh my God, that face. The snow is too fluffy. I like denser snow so we can make igloos and stuff.
We did try to make an igloo.
Yeah,
it failed. But we did kind of cannonballs and jumped into the snow from the porch and did a lot of face plants and back plants.
You can see videos of if you go to patreon.com/agradepodcast, link in the description.
Which is why we deserve this stout.
I would say so. So I guess
you heard it here.
Overall, for the podcast, from A Grade Podcast, a B+ for Grimm. I think they're technically called Grimm Artisanal Ales or something like that. I don't know. It sounds fancy to me, so I'm going to go with that. But Grimm, they're in Brooklyn. We can't wait to check them out as long as they don't DM us that they don't want us going there. And again, that's their Maple Sumi Snow Cream Stout. So
it's a bourbon barreled
everything
Imperial
else.
Milk Stout.
All that jazz.
Delicious.
Anything else?
I think that's it. Going forward, we have some really fun trips planned. We do officially going to Philadelphia
in a few weeks. We'll probably do 1 or 2 more episodes here on Long Island, and then for like the next 6, 7, 8 weeks, we're going to be doing Philly episodes, right?
And I got to tell you, I have got more feedback about places to go in Philly than anywhere that we've traveled so far.
The hype is real.
The hype is real for Philly. Yeah. It seems like that is a city that is vibrant with beer and coffee culture.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to get there.
I haven't been to Philly since, I think, 7th grade. We did a 7th grade field trip to the Liberty Bell. And I remember being not old enough to drink. And that's all I remember.
Yeah. I went to Philly and saw the Liberty Bell maybe 10, 15 years ago now. I was adult. I wasn't old enough to drink, but I don't remember it. I think this is going to be a much better experience.
I'm hyped. So shout out to Philly. We can't wait to give it our best shot.
Yeah, let us know if there are any places that you'd like us to review. We got a pretty big list growing already. Yeah. Really excited.
Too many places.
And then we have a very big summer trip that is also officially planned.
But we're not revealing that.
But we're not revealing that.
We're going to make you wait and wonder and speculate. Unless you know me personally and I've already told you.
Yeah, because we're geeking out. Yes.
Yeah, but otherwise you know nothing.
And the other great thing is that is all booked. And you guys know that last year we drove cross country. Our crazy asses got in a car and drove to Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and back.
I'm looking at a U.S. map behind you as you say that, and I'm just thinking that was nuts.
That was the birth of the podcast as well. So
that is the birth of the podcast.
We survived that. We're going to be doing a month somewhere else this summer, and we can't wait to reveal
a lot of episodes there for sure. Yes. So follow us wherever you're listening to this. Check us out on patreon.com/agradepodcast. Like I said, for bonuses, links are all in the description for all of this. And thank you for joining us on this snowy, blizzardy blizzardy.
Yes.
Day, and hopefully warmer days ahead.
Yes.
It's nice, but it's enough.
Yes. This was such a fun episode. Thank you if you listened to this far. We do plan to have some more special episodes mixed into our normal episodes.
Oh, yeah, we have some interviews coming up.
We have some interviews coming up.
That's going to be fun.
Really fun. We're going to tentatively try to have every 10 episodes be a special episode, but if we get snowed in, we just kind of roll with the punches and roll with the snowflakes.
Roll with the snowflakes. I like that.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. All right, I'm going to end before I say anything.
On that note, let's go make some dinner and watch some WWE.
Sounds good. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being here in these snowy times with us. And until next time, be well, drink well, stay safe out there, and hope to see you guys next time.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye.